In apartheid South Africa, just see if this sounds familiar, white Afrikaners believed that they had a right to self-determination, that the land was theirs by divine right, and separation was not oppression, it was necessary to retain the identity of their nation. The white Afrikaners saw themselves as a people who'd arrived centuries ago, tamed and modernized an empty, uncivilized land. Their conquests over the natives, they turned into legends, like the 1830s Battle of Blood River, named after the enormous number of Zulu natives that they would kill. They'd made a covenant with God. If they won, they knew the land would be divinely ordained. And after their victory, using guns and cannons, mowing down any possible defenses against their charge, from that day forth, they were convinced they were God's chosen stewards of the land, and celebrated that day, the Day of the Vow, every December 16th for over a century. Ending apartheid was unrealistic, a threat to national security. Black African resistance were terrorists, they were extremists, existential threats. People from the outside didn't understand the resistance. There was a communist element at play. This was an incompatible, uncivilized culture. And so they regularly killed protesters, even if they were peaceful, detained tens of thousands of people without trial, including children, and anybody who attacked the regime was called unchristian, enemies of the state, communist, etc. And the U.S. government, under both Democratic and Republican administrations through the 50s and 60s, maintained very friendly relations with apartheid South Africa because it was critical for our global strategic interests, helping defend against communism. And so apartheid was pretty well tolerated. Reagan, Jerry Falwell, the televangelist, Heritage Foundation, they all supported it and opposed sanctions. Over 350 U.S. companies were invested in South Africa, like Ford, Mobil, IBM, through the 1980s, contributing billions to their economy. IBM's computers were used to manage the PASS system, which controlled Black South Africans' movements. Chase Manhattan, Citibank provided loans to the South African government, and they all helped keep its economy stable. Eventually, white Afrikaners would strip millions of native Black South Africans from their citizenship, drive them into enclaves, and look, if they didn't like it, there were plenty of other African nations that they could live in. This might be sounding a little bit like modern Israel. Well, they collaborated extensively with South Africa. They had a formal military agreement. They did joint development of missile systems. Israel supplied apartheid South Africa with submachine guns and military training. And South Africa provided raw materials in return, like uranium. And today, the United States has a similar relationship to Israel as it did with South Africa, with its tech giants like Amazon, Google, and IBM, who provide the